portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
A woman who had a front row seat when majority rule was ushered in, Jane Adderley, talks about her experience on that historic day and the events that led up to it.
Well, as Fern Carey tells us, the mother of 5 was among the women who worked in the trenches to ensure that a new era became a reality.
Growing up in the pre-majority rule era in the Bahamas was not easy for 84-year-old Jane Adderley. A young woman at the time, she remembered that the country was divided along color lines and black people were treated as second-class citizens. Even in the grocery store, Adderley reminisced that service was doled out according to skin color, and that did not sit well with her.
If you met 10 or 12 persons in there and they were white, at that time we called them conquijos, and they would serve them. And after they have left, if one come in, one conquijou or 2 or 3, they would still serve them before serving you. And that happened. And I think we begin to feel that, well, we are less than we should be in our own country. Right opposite the market, there was Milo Butler, Senior's mother, who had a grocery shop. And we went there to get like the flour and the sugar and all that. And we were treated, differently. If you were first in there, you got served first.
Eager for change, Adderley, now a married mother of 5, joined the grassroots struggle to majority rule, along with Bahamian greats like the late Warren Lavarity and Sir Lyndon Pinling, who were all agitating for change. At the same time, she said women were actively engaged in the struggle.
And the women really did a lot of the work. I almost want to say most of the work, because we had to help raise the funds. The men at that time, they had no money. They just started to work and what have you. But God was with us, and we were able to conquer.
The hard work paid off when on January 10, 1967, majority rule became a reality. This following a general election where the Progressive Liberal Party and the United Bahamian Party both won 18 seats. However, Sir Lyndon Pinling convinced Labour leader, the late Sir Randall Fawkes, and independent member, the late Alvin Brannan, to join the PLP, paving the way for a coalition government with a 2018 margin.
It was a wonderful feeling, because we remembered how hard we had to work, and there were so many times that they didn't pay you any attention. And you felt like maybe this would never happen, but we never gave up. And we kept on fighting.
And with the dawning of the new era, life started to change.
We were respected more as citizens of the Bahamas, as those who treated us as though we weren't.
Happy with the accomplishments made in the country, the 84-year-old offered this advice.
What was done for all women. And I think it's up to the women to take advantage of whatever is out there for them.
Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Well, 6 people grateful to be alive tonight after escaping a burning ferry boat. Only our cameras were rolling when the boat, known as the Island Girl, sunk from the flames. Rescue officials tell us around 4 o'clock this afternoon the captain was transporting employees from Balmoral Island to the downtown harbor. It was during the middle of the voyage when the captain says he saw fire at the rear of the vessel. Defense Force Harbor Patrol officers responded immediately and were able to transport all on board to shore. Police and Defense Force officials remain on the scene until the boat was destroyed. An investigation has started into the blaze.
A Dallas woman who was bitten by a shark here in the Bahamas is walking. 34-year-old Lacey Webb walked on her own and even smiled today. Lacey was snorkeling with her husband last Monday when a shark struck and ripped out a mouthful of her back. Webb underwent her 3rd surgery yesterday at a Fort Lauderdale hospital, and doctors say a few more could be needed. Scientists, after looking at the tooth in her wound, believe a great white shark, not a tiger shark, attacked her. Great whites are said to be extremely rare in Bahamian waters. Although some businesses are being compliant with national insurance payments, a significant number are not abiding the law.
Well, tonight, Cleopatra Murphy tells us that Minister of Labor and National Insurance, the Honorable Shane Gibson, updated the figures during during day one of a 2-day leadership conference.
In 2014, national insurance records show that 13,039 employers and 9,597 self-employed people made contributions to the board. But NIB Minister the Honorable Shane Gibson says compliance remains a challenge for the agency. He also indicated that an outstanding 9,594 employers and 9,152 self-employed people did not make contributions, and more than 13,000 in both cases were at least 3 months in arrears. The NIB minister says this is an issue, as the board cannot carry out income replacement if contributions are not made.
Over the years, there are many persons who, for one reason or the other, fail to make contributions to national insurance. You have many unscrupulous employers who deduct national insurance contributions out of employee salaries and simply don't turn it over to national insurance. And so we want to make sure that we remain focused on keeping a high compliancy rate.
Gibson was speaking at NIB's annual leadership conference at the Melian Nassau Beach Resort Tuesday morning. He says the agency has hired an additional 26 inspectors to visit businesses and ensure employers are paying contributions.
There are still many persons out there who are not making contributions, either through their employers and in a lot of cases the self-employed. But whenever something happens, if they retire, if they get sick, in the case of females, if they get pregnant, they come to NIB looking for benefits which they're unable to collect simply because the contributions were not paid.
NIB Director Rowena Bethel says compliance is the biggest challenge for the agency, and it is one of the areas it hopes to improve in 2015.
My charge at the conference is really for us to look at different ways of trying to get compliance and cooperation from the contributing public, because the mechanisms that we've used in the past are not producing the results that we actually want.
Gibson says NIB has a lot of work to do to meet its mandate, but also pointed out the success of its self-service registration and online contribution facility launched in 2014. He says technology transformation is taking place at NIB that will cause it to be the standard by which government agencies are judged. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Well, Senior Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Baffle says police will continue their intense patrols aimed at snuffing out criminal activity. Mr. Baffle spoke to our cameras at the King Eric Regatta, which itself boasted a very large police presence.
All of the assistant commissioners, he himself worked the entire weekend, and you'd have seen a large number of officers patrolling through the streets of New Providence. We're here in full force at Montague. We have a large team at Iwaki, at Porter Ski Dock, and the police are just covering all of the areas that the people are gathering right now. The effort is to make sure that the police presence is strong, and that anyone who have any intention, they'll think twice before they try anything, because we'll be out here to deal with any situation that develops.
BTC CEO Leon Williams says the upgrades to the network are starting to take hold. Speaking to ZNS News at the BTC Home Giveaway, Mr. Williams noted several improvements to the company's performance.
I can suggest to you that 15 to 20 cell sites that we are building. In the last couple of weeks, we've put at least 10 cell sites online, and many of those cell sites are running on emergency generator supplies. I can tell you that BTC being evaluated within the cable and wireless network was number 14 3-4 weeks ago. BTC has climbed to number 12 within the network. So we've got a little ways to go. I can tell you the drop calls have gone from 1.8% down to 0.5%. So we are making progress. I was so happy last night at a function when someone told me that they were living in Yamacraw, and this is the first time they've been able to use their phone in their bedroom. And so we are making progress. There's still much work to be done. We've done a LT on some 107 sites that will be finished by January. So the level and the speed of the data network for the mobile services is improving.
Coming up, find out one of the legacies of the former BAIC executive chairman.
And a championship belt comes to the Bahamas. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.